appreciate it. It is my privilege to introduce someone who stepped into his role as the 35th Police Chief of the City of Kissimmee earlier this year. Chief Charles "Chuck" Broadway. Chief Broadway brings with him nearly 3 decades of law enforcement experience at both the local and state levels. He most recently served as Chief of Police for the Claremont Police Department since 2012, and prior to that as a Special Agent Supervisor with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, where he oversaw major criminal investigations and police-involved shooting reviews. His career began with the New York City Police Department, where he served as a detective and played a role in the 9/11 search and recovery efforts. Chief Broadway has also been deeply involved in professional and community organizations, serving in leadership roles with the Florida Police Chiefs Association and the Florida Criminal Justice Executive Institute. A graduate of St. John's University with a Bachelor of Science in Business Management, he has built his career on accountability, transparency, and a strong commitment to community service, which is so big for the city of Kissimmee and surrounding areas. What stands out most is that Chief Broadway has put his and his team's core values of honor, courage, and integrity at the center of their service. We appreciate that we see those values every day. Through his leadership and through his dedication of the entire Kissimmee Police Department, we thank Chief Broadway. Please join me in welcoming Chief Charles "Chuck" Broadway.
Middle?
There
you go. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for the nice introduction, Keith. Thank you to Positively Osceola. I promise I will be 3 minutes of your time, but we have not met. Once again, Charles "Chuck" Broadway, the honor and privilege of serving this city as its 35th Chief of Police. As mentioned, I've been in law enforcement for 29 years. It seems like yesterday I just joined the ranks of the New York City Police Department in 1996. When I joined, my passion, my ambition was to really make a difference in the lives of other people and make a difference in the community that I vow to serve and to protect. If you fast forward 29 years to today, this very present moment, my role may have changed, my city may have changed, but that passion, that ambition is still the same, to make a difference as a Chief of Police, make a difference in the lives of other people, and make a difference in the community that I vow to serve and to protect. Our policing has evolved immensely over the past several years. We are more and more utilizing technology to deter and prevent crime, data-driven techniques where we have an analyst full-time on staff that is looking at crime, contributors of crime, all various different factors to help us reduce crime and deter crime, sharing up intelligence from our federal level to our state, our county, and our local level, as well as community policing, really embracing working together collectively and collaboratively with our community. At the end of the day, we all want safe streets, we all want safe communities. Why not act as a force multiplier to achieve those results? A few initiatives on the horizon. We are getting ready to implement a drone program that will help us locate those endangered and missing children and adults, as well as apprehend subjects wanted for crimes. We are looking at implementing a downtown unit where officers, the liquor officers, will be assigned to the CRA downtown district. You can expect an annual report beginning of 2026, which will show you a snapshot of 2025, all of our achievements of our men and women of the Kissimmee Police Department, as well as use of force stats, complaints that come in and the results. We're looking at a Citizens Police Academy next month. If you haven't joined up for that one, I encourage you to join up potentially next year. It gives you an inside look at what our men and women do every single day to serve and protect our community. We hosted just recently a women's self-defense class. There was a waiting list. We are looking at hosting that monthly, so please follow us on all of our social media platforms and our website to keep abreast of what is happening. A special thanks to Main Street and all of our sponsors. We hosted our first inaugural youth basketball camp. We taught and mentored our youth fundamentals and skills of basketball, but more importantly, fundamentals of life, making the right choices, right decisions, and becoming leaders within your communities. Last but certainly not least, if you own a business, you have a business, our crime prevention techs, crime prevention specialists can come to your business, help you not be a victim of crime, help you and offer recommendations and suggestions how to target hard in your business, keep yourself safe as well as your employees safe. If you're involved with a civic group, a community, HOA, same thing there. We can send our crime prevention specialists there to help you not be a victim of crime and keep you apprised of what's going on in and around the city, again, to keep our city safe and continue to prevent crime, reduce crime, and enhance quality of life for all. Thank you so much for your time. God bless you all. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, we're going to use the arrows. All right, so the mission statement for the Osceola Chamber is to be champion for business and the Osceola community. So thank you again to Positively Osceola and to Chief Broadway for all you're doing to elevate our community. And please forgive me, I should have also asked if there are any other elected officials that are here that I did not mention, then I would like to recognize you as well. So just making sure, did I miss anybody? Okay, great. All right, so a couple of announcements before we get to our first speaker. I'll be really quick. The Downtown Kissimmee Council has a couple of ongoing projects that we have displayed for you on the tables. One of them is our table calendars that you'll see we have highlighted today. There's ad space available for purchase on a monthly basis. We deliver those to participating businesses. If you would like to be a participating business who we deliver to at no cost to you, let us know afterward. There's ad space today for our sponsor, Positively Osceola, as well as a highlight to one of our ongoing awards that we give out, the Downtown Beautification and Innovation Award. Our last winner was the Rain Garden at City Hall. So that one's noticed, there's an image on there for that. And then there's also free events throughout the community that we put on those. And also a QR code on a flyer on your table for our Downtown Dollars program, which are available to purchase in $20 increments to spend at downtown businesses to encourage our support of our downtown businesses. So if you are a corporate entity that would like to buy in bulk for your staff, then please notify Robin after the event. And if you would like to purchase them individually for gifts for your staff on a small scale or anything like that, you can use that QR code to purchase them through the website. All right, that's all for that. Now, introducing speaker number one, we have Shawn Germolus, the Director of Aviation at the City of Kissimmee Gateway Airport. Mr. Germolus possesses over 32 years of airport experience at general aviation and commercial service airports. He recently served as the Executive Director for the Range Regional Airport in Hibbing, Minnesota. Prior to that, he served as the Director of Operations at the Duluth Airport Authority in Duluth, Minnesota, Operations Superintendent at the Roanoke Regional Airport Commission in Roanoke, Virginia, and as Airport Manager at Worthington Municipal Airport, Minnesota. Germolus holds a Bachelor of Business Administration degree with a double major in Airport Administration and Management from the University of North Dakota. Mr. Germolus is an accredited airport executive with the American Association of Airport Executives. Please welcome Shawn to the stage.
Thank you.
I'm gonna play with this if you want to just use the arrows for now. I'm gonna make sure it works.
Okay, well, good morning. Thank you so much for having me here. We get to talk about aviation and the airport. My name is Shawn Germolus, the Director of Aviation for the City of Kissimmee. And when people ask and find out what I do for a living, usually the first question I get is, Kissimmee has an airport? And I say, yes, we do. And we have a very important role here and very impactful with our economic contributions to the central region. Now this is when it'll get interesting. Aha. All right. So I participate in the Metro Plan organization, and so as I sit there, I listen to them speak a lot about highways and bridges and bikes and all these important things in transportation. And I made the comment that we don't talk enough about our airports. And so I was voluntold that I'll be giving a presentation on our airports here in our region, which turned out pretty good because now my other three peers from the other airports are also giving presentations so that we can educate everybody on who we are and what we do and the impacts that we have in our region. As you can see, the four airports here, Orlando International, MCO, I think you're all pretty familiar with them as being our commercial passenger service, the busiest one in the state. And then to the north, we have Sanford International that also has commercial service. So the other two airports, Orlando Executive and Kissimmee Gateway, what are they and what do we do? I'm frequently asked that. We are considered by the FAA to be a general aviation reliever airport for Orlando International. So what does that mean? We take care of a lot of things other than the commercial service aircraft, and so we stay really busy in doing that, and I'll show that here in just a second. With this slide, we had over 1,060,000 landings and takeoffs in 2024 between these airports. Our airport has 140,000 operations a year, so on a daily average, it's about 400 landings and takeoffs per day. So it's pretty significant. We also had a study done by the Florida Department of Transportation that shows that between our jobs, our businesses, and the visitors here to the airport, we're contributing about $946 million to the economy each year. And since that study is 4 years old, we know that we're over $1 billion today. So what do we do at Kissimmee Gateway? Well, this is what we don't do. We do not have commercial flights, scheduled passenger service, scheduled cargo service, and routine military operations. But what we do take care of is general aviation. So that's everything else. So it's corporate, it's private jets, aircraft, a lot of helicopter traffic. We have a lot of helicopter traffic between our law enforcement, medical flights, and sightseeing tours and flight instruction. We have a few flight schools out there, so we're training pilots. Probably, I would say on an average, we have somewhere around 300 students between our flight training program and our maintenance technical programs and our avionics programs. The FAA gives us a 3-letter identifier, and ours is ISM. And so we use this as our marketing strategy. We have a lot of fun with this. We make up words to really emphasize the ISM. And so these are things that are really important about Kissimmee Gateway Airport, is our location-ism, right? Where are we? Everybody in this room understands the importance of Central Florida and how easy it is to attract people here. And so this is kind of the easy part of our job, right? But then we have educationism. So what is that? This is our niche. We really want to capitalize on this. I think the city of Kissimmee has done an excellent job at building their economic development program by focusing on education. We have flight schools. We have a college out there that has an A&P or a mechanic program to produce our mechanics for our industry. And then we have an avionics program. And that's everything that has to do with a wire. We call it the glass cockpit now, the displays in the aircraft. So the avionics program is really important as well. We have a helicopter program out there as well. So we're really capitalizing on our workforce development. Just adjacent to us is Osceola High School. They have a 4-year aviation program. So we start young, and we start recruiting, and we bring them to the airport. And with our location here, especially around Orlando International, there are so many aviation jobs that are afforded to our kids today. And then developmentism, right? We have a lot of property at the airport, and I think that's the other thing that sets us off. When I was in rural Minnesota, I had a great airport. I had plenty of property. I had economic development incentives, and I would bring somebody to the airport to recruit their business. The first thing they asked was, well, what's your workforce situation? Again, I think we've kind of done this in reverse here. We got the workforce going. We've got the location, and now we have this property. We opened up on that southwest quadrant about 120 acres of developable property that we're going to turn into an industrial air park and create a lot of good jobs. And so we're really excited, and we're really blessed to have the opportunity to have that property to do this. A couple projects that we're working on. We have an air traffic control tower that was built in the mid-90s on a very limited budget. The budget was so limited that they didn't put an elevator in there to go up to the 3rd floor to the cab. So we have no overweight air traffic controllers. It's a pretty good program. But the recently retired air traffic control manager, when he did retire, had a knee replacement, so I'm not sure if it's a great program. But we're in the process right now of designing a new tower, and the new tower is going to be twice as tall. The current one has an elevation, a floor cab of about 45 feet. The new one will be at 85 feet, and it will have an elevator. It'll have plenty of space to meet all the requirements that the FAA has for us today. But as you see, we're building out that airport, and as we put in more taxiways and more buildings, they need to have a better line of sight. And so the FAA recognizes that. And so we're in the process of designing. We're about 80% complete. We hope by the end of the year to be putting this out for bid and then applying for construction dollars. So it's estimated about a $16 million project. We hope to start this in 2026, 27, and then construct it. It'll be certified. So it's about probably a 3-year process before we'll have that new tower in place. The other thing that we've been working on is the ability to get the U.S. Customs and Border Protection program here. When we looked at a map from Tampa to Sanford, Lakeland, all the way over to Daytona, everybody has a U.S. Customs Border Protection. They have that international designation to bring in flights. Everybody but Kissimmee. And so our county doesn't have this. And so what are we losing? What are the opportunities that we're missing out on right now? We think they're significant. And being a reliever airport, we know Orlando International is growing. We know that they have plenty of flights up there. Sometimes there's delays and they get backed up with some of these flights. We can take some of those off of them and assist them as well. One of our FBOs has 3 operations in the Caribbean. They see a lot of their flights going into southern Florida to clear customs, and they're asking, why can't we bring them here to Kissimmee and have them clear right here on our airport? And so we're very close to getting a formal application put together and being submitted, and then we hope to build a facility and start this operation. So it'll be pretty significant here for our region. The other project that we're working on is our Dyer Thacker Commerce Park, our build out here along MLK Junior Boulevard. You may have seen recently that we had a groundbreaking ceremony for a 122 room Hyatt, it's called a Hyatt Studio Hotel. So every room will have a nice kitchenette to it. And the real purpose of this is to support our aviation businesses. We have aircraft maintenance. People will fly in and they're here for 4 or 5 days. We have people that fly in and also do additional flight training. They may be on the flight simulators for specific training for a week or 2 at a time. And they all struggle for a place to stay. We also have people that are flying in and the corporates say you need to go stay at a name brand hotel. Well, we'll have one right across the street now. So this will really help us with our aviation businesses and our traffic at the airport. We hope to break ground on that here this fall, and their intention is to be up and running here by the first quarter of 2027. Along the north side of that road is a concept. We have a company that's interested in expanding their flight training simulators. They have an Airbus A320 and a 737 today that they train, mostly foreign pilots that come in and can do it cheaper here. They have about 80 people a month that come into our community and receive this training. They would like to expand. And so we're hoping along that north side we can expand the flight training program for them. On the south side, this is a little busy, but there's another concept of putting some hangars in place. To the very, left slide, the pink buildings represent Aviator College. They're the facility that is training our aircraft mechanics. And so the idea is to expand the college, expand the avionics technician program, create a kind of on-the-job training center and a aircraft maintenance center here along that south side. So imagine going down the corridor and having our campus of flight instruction and aviation mechanics and technicians and our workforce development. And when you hit the end at the roundabout, there's an 8-acre parcel that we're in the process of working with Cirrus Aircraft right now. Cirrus is a very great company. They're world-renowned. They manufacture a piston aircraft, and they manufacture a single-engine jet. And they sold more aircraft, more jets, I think, last year than any other business. So what are they doing here in Central Florida? They do flight instruction and sales at the Orlando Executive Airport, but at our airport, they're primarily focusing on aircraft maintenance. And so people will fly in. There's a $100 check. There's an annual check that's required on aircraft each year. There's avionics upgrades that they'll do for these aircraft and any kind of warranty service work. They're looking at establishing 100 jobs here in our community. They're in a small hangar, about 12,000 square feet today. They processed about 1,000 aircraft in this past year. And so by giving them another 70,000 square feet, we hope to at least double that here. But again, people flying in, they're going to stay here. Cirrus is going to try to make this a vacation stay for them. So as the airplane is being maintained, they're out in the parks, the golf courses, maybe they hit the beaches, but they're going to be in our community for a few days. So this has a lot of a significant impact here for our region. In 2024, we updated our master plan, and basically that is giving us direction on how to build out the airport. We're not going to extend the runways. We're not bringing in any larger aircraft than what we do today, but we're really focused on the property. We have about 200 acres altogether, and how can we build that out? What's the best, highest use for that property? How do we build that out properly? Because we get one shot at doing this, especially that golf course area. And so we took a good look at this, and we really have a good conceptual plan. Showed it to the FAA, and they liked it, they approved it, and so now we're off and running. So finally, the golf course, again, it's about 120 acres. The city closed that down just prior to me arriving. It's kind of the reason I wanted to leave the cold snowbanks of Minnesota, right, and get into Florida, because here's a challenge. Here's something really cool that airport managers don't get to do. I get to convert a whole golf course into an industrial air park, and how exciting will this be? So along there, you can see towards the right some large 30,000 square foot hangars. Hangars are in high demand. Everything is full in our region right now. In the center, we're kind of reserving that for aircraft manufacturing or servicing or something that's going to create a lot of good jobs here for our area. On the left, the little blue pad is something new in our industry, advanced air mobility. You may have heard about an eVTOL, the electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. There's two pictures of them on this slide right here. And so basically they're helicopters powered by electric blades. And there's a race right now. There's about 200 companies throughout the world that are developing these. And the idea is that we can transport people regionally through electric means. And so we're looking at bringing something like that here to the airport, and I think the golf course is a really good use and something that we're going to entertain here for that area. That blue section just represents what we call a vertiport. So the aircraft will come land and take off from there. We would probably build a small terminal, parking lot, so that people can arrive at our airport and do regional transportation, either to MCO or throughout the parks and eventually to the beaches from here. Can you imagine leaving here, flying over I-4, and being in Tampa within 20 minutes? That's what they're going for here. So do we want to be a part of that? Heck yeah. So it's pretty exciting. So the Jetsons area is here. You're going to see this, I swear, within the next 18, 24 months. They're going to be testing aircraft, and we hope to be a part of that. We're in close partnership with Orlando International Airport, and we're going to try to get into a network with them and get this off the ground. So we're excited. So with that, I want to thank everybody again for the opportunity. We do have an airport, and it's serving a very, very, very impactful purpose here in Central Florida. So thank you very much. All right, are there questions, or are we good? Huh?
We have a little bit of time if anybody has any questions that they would like to ask for Mr. Germolus. All right, thank you.
All right.
Oh, you do? Yeah.
I do. Okay. So do you have if we need to fly from here to, say, Pensacola, right? Are there companies that would, like, we could fly like a private, I don't know, like I could get a group of people together, we can fly to Pensacola, like could you guys handle that at the airport? Like, I guess if I, like, not like a travel agent, I don't want to be a travel agent, can I come down to the airport and just make plans?
Yeah, it's a great question. So what you're talking about is a charter. So an individual or a group can contact a company and say, you know, we want to get from A to B, and we've got limited time. And so they'll pick you up right at our airport and take you there and back. So yes, there are companies out there. That's something that we don't have at our airport today. There's not a business located there, so they fly in from other places. So it can be arranged, and that happens all the time. But yes, we would like to have our own charter company. And there's been a couple talking to us about doing certain things like that. And so, yeah, we expect that to occur.
Okay.
Yep.
Where does the funding for the expansion of the airport come from, the operations come from, and where does the funding, you said that you were gonna apply for funding for the new air tower, where does that come from?
Yep. So we're going to pass the hat before everybody leaves here. It's a great question. What people don't understand is that our airport is an enterprise fund with the city. And so what that means is we're kind of an autonomous business operating for the city. We gather all of our revenue primarily through leases, landing fees, fuel, car rentals. Everything that we generate on the airport has to stay on the airport to support our operations. And so we look at our budget, what we're going to make, that offsets our expenses, and we try to break even every year with that. We rely heavily on the FAA, federal grants, and state grants. On a particular project, we have a taxiway rehabilitation going on right now. The FAA provided 90% of the $12 million project, and that leaves 10%. And of that 10%, the state will then give us 80%, and we'll participate in 20% of that remaining cost. So on a $12 million project, our 2% cost was about $230,000. But that's money that we have to generate on the airport, to be able to make our local match work. So yes, that's how we fund the airport. And with a lot of the development, we look forward to leasing more property. And as we do that, we're going to continue raising revenue, and we reinvest that back in our infrastructure.
Thank you.
All right, well then, now we're gonna move right along to our speaker number 2. Thank you, Angela. For our next presentation, we have David Rodriguez, Economic Development Director for the City of Kissimmee. David has over 30 years of experience in economic development and business financing. He obtained a bachelor's degree in finance from the University of Puerto Rico in 1990. He started his career in business development and government guaranteed lending with the Economic Development Bank of Puerto Rico. In 2001, he relocated to Florida, recruited by Banco Popular in North America to lead the SBA lending unit, helping Banco Popular rapidly become one of the top 5 SBA lenders in the U.S. Since 2009, David has focused in economic development activities, holding leadership positions at the state and local level, and leading economic transformation for the City of St. Cloud and Osceola County. In 2024, David joined the City of Kissimmee as directed toward diversifying and growing the city's economy, attracting capital investment and creating jobs, developing a skilled and diverse workforce, and broadening the industrial and commercial base in one of the most diverse, entrepreneurial, and fastest growing cities in Florida. Please welcome David Rodriguez.
We'll put it. All right. Once it comes off, how does it go back? I don't know.
Oh, it does. I can do it if you want.
You do it. Excellent.
I was practicing earlier, make sure I could.
I didn't want to force it. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. David Rodriguez, Economic Development Director for the City of Kissimmee. Let me try the arrows here. No, the other way. There you go. Okay. Well, the city of Kissimmee is where opportunity lives, and we are so grateful of the opportunity to talk to the group and provide an update on important initiatives that are being implemented in the city. A little bit of history. You all know the city was incorporated in 1883, initially as a cattle ranching, steamboat transportation, and expansion of the railroads, but then everything changed in the 70s when Walt Disney came to town, and then we became a hub for tourism. But today, we're a dynamic city known by explosive growth, and if you've driven around, you know what we're talking about. Diverse population, vibrant downtown, and strategic location in Central Florida, and we constantly market the city as a destination for business expansion. We have three main economic hubs. The airport, which Shawn just talked to you about and explained everything that's happening in terms of economic activity. We have the medical arts district, and we have our downtown, and we're going to concentrate on downtown so we can fly through the airport slides. Of course, you heard about the Hyatt Studios. Now let's just mention briefly the medical arts district and why it's important. We have two main hospitals, Advent Health and HCA. In our community, we have the third largest medical cluster in Central Florida. We support over 4,000 jobs in a square mile of medical arts district. The HCA is a level 2 trauma center. They're both teaching hospitals, and in addition to the hospitals, we have 21 additional healthcare facilities all around. And the important thing is that both hospitals are making significant investments and expansions in our community, not only investing dollars, but also creating jobs. What's new in the healthcare field in the city is that we're going to have a new hospital. Everest Rehabilitation Hospital is a new hospital facility. It's almost completed. It's a 40,000 square feet new hospital, rehab hospital. $25 million investment is going to create an additional 100 high-paying jobs in our city, so that's exciting. But we're here to talk about downtown. What's all the buzz about downtown? Well, there's a new kid in town, Azure, a hotel and convention center. You may have heard that this company, it's coming to the city to develop a hotel and a convention center. This is how the site plan will look like. To the left of the map is where we are today, where the Civic Center is. In this location, there's going to be a hotel with a parking garage underneath, and then the hotel on top, and a convention center to the east of it. Now the hotel is Azure Hotel by Pininfarina. It's important to mention that Pininfarina is the design house behind Ferrari, Maserati, Fiat, Peugeot. So those are companies that are cutting edge in terms of design, and is the firm that is behind the design of this hotel. It's about a $100 million investment. It's a 300-room, 4.5-star hotel. It's going to elevate 10 floors. But the cool thing about the design is that it's kind of in levels. So almost all the rooms are going to have unobstructed view to the lake. And that was important, an important element of this design. It will include 15,000 square feet of flexible meeting space. It's going to have a rooftop bar, pool bar, spa, 2 restaurants, fitness center, pet-friendly areas. And it's going to provide transportation or shuttle from MCO and Gateway Airport to the hotel. In terms of timeline, the firm have shared that the timeline, the project is now in the pre-construction phase, and it will extend and be completed by December 2029. Attached to it, or not attached to it, but adjacent to the hotel is going to be a convention center, the Kissimmee Convention Center, again by Pininfarina. This development is $55 million development. The city is contributing $10 million that have been set aside for some time for the development of the Civic Center, and then the hotel and this convention center, the rest of the funding is private financing. This is going to be a 45,000 square feet facility, 3,500 seat capacity. The cool thing is that by having this type of assets in our community, we can attract events that we cannot do today. Smaller conventions, boutique conventions, sports events, because this is going to be a multi-use flexible configuration type of facility that can go from theater, from concert setting to expo to sport events. So we will have the ability to attract many type of events, and that brings foot traffic and investment to the city. And the timeline is to have this facility completed by December 2028. In addition to that, there's other development happening around us. You know, the Beaumont is the phase one, the island apartments, is already completed, over 300 apartments. Now, the phase two of that project, it's a 100,000 square feet Class A medical office tower. The space is mostly negotiated with HCA for medical practitioners to have their offices there. The cool thing is that not only brings investment to the city, it has the potential of creating about 500 high-paying healthcare jobs and bring additional traffic to support the businesses in the downtown. Across the street from the Beaumont, what you see going vertical is Adventus. That's another mixed-use project that has 355 apartment units. And at the ground level, again, commercial space and medical offices. You've heard about the Toho Square Garage. This is another mixed-use project that was selected for the redevelopment of Toho Square. This project is unique in the sense that around the parking garage, it brings two types of facilities. On one side, a hotel, on the other side, condos, and provide ground level for commercial space as well. And then you've heard about the Kmart site that is very close to downtown. This is a redevelopment project for the Vine Street CRA. There was a request for qualifications that was out. It closed a couple of weeks ago for a mixed-use project. It will have housing plus ground-level commercial space. And this project, the proposals are currently under evaluation. The process is to narrow down, then go into a series of presentations and interviews, and eventually pick a developer to present to the City Commission for approval. Another update on downtown is the Downtown Activation Initiative. If on one side we are trying to attract foot traffic by having a convention center, by having hotel, by having additional density apartments around us, it would be a good thing to also help on the other side of the equation to have a more diverse and robust supply of businesses to those that are visiting. So the Downtown Activation Initiative is to attract new businesses to locate in Kissimmee downtown corridor and occupy empty spaces and foster a vibrant mix of retail, entertainment, dining options that we don't currently have. So what we're doing here is, in order to attract these businesses, have a recruitment tool that provides 25% reimbursement of the cost and investment in tenant improvements up to $50,000. So if there's a type of business that we want to attract that we don't necessarily have, that the community wants to see in their downtown, we have now a tool to incentivize that business coming to downtown by providing a reimbursement of their tenant improvements. We're also going to facilitate the development by waiving the development fees up to $5,000, reimburse the cost of the BTR, and also provide a 50% reimbursement of the rent cost for the first 6 months. And the idea here is to alleviate the pains of going into a new territory by mitigating those pains and providing incentives to bring those businesses to downtown. And then Business Boost 2.0. This is a relaunch of a program that you may have heard, Operation Business Boost, in 2021 or 2022 after COVID. And you would say, COVID, wow, that happens like years ago. But based on Forbes magazine, they just said the other day, and it's quoted here, pandemic-related restrictions continue and subsequent inflation and debt burdens continue to suppress growth. And there are businesses that are still paying the price of COVID. Some businesses went into debt that they didn't have to take, but they had to in order to stay afloat. They jacked up the credit cards in order to stay afloat. And all those debts that were necessary to stay afloat are still putting pressures on their cash flows. So this project, this program will provide a couple of things. On one side, do small business grant relief grants from $5,000 to $20,000, depending on how big the business is, to businesses that still face financial hardship stemming from the COVID-19 pandemic. So this is financial hardship driven. So there will be documentation to prove, hey, you know, my rent went up, my operational expenses went up, my debt level went up, and I'm still paying for that. And that would be financial hardship, and they would qualify for this grant. This program will also provide tuition assistance. It's called Upskill Kissimmee. This is tuition grants up to $5,000 for individuals who are unemployed or underemployed and in need of additional skills and training. Example of this would be someone that is in the hotel industry. They're housekeepers or some other hotel job. And they felt the burn of COVID. They're still there, but they would love to learn something else and pivot and do something else. So this would provide tuition grant up to $5,000 for those individuals to retrain in something else, maybe become medical assistant, welder, electronic board assembly, anything that would provide a better paying job. And this program is going to be through Career Source Central Florida. And the Business Boost 2.0 also provides technical assistance. This is assistance and mentorship through the Growth Wheel program for existing businesses to optimize operations, expand, improve financial performance. Business owners that want to just better their operations. They're going to go through the UCF Business Incubator and receive technical assistance to achieve just that. So when we say Downtown Kissimmee is hot, and it's in the news, it's true. The Orlando Sentinel just last month had a headline, Downtown Kissimmee commercial real estate market is on fire. And that's true. It's everywhere. And you see two examples here. The Shopping Center Business Magazine is a national magazine that did a spread on the city of Kissimmee because of all the buzz of what's happening here. And also Business in Focus did an article, City of Opportunity, and they talked about everything that's happening in the city of Kissimmee, again, because of all the noise of the good things that are happening in Kissimmee. So as we say, Kissimmee is open for business, and those are the updates of everything that's happening or coming to downtown and around us. Thank you very much. There you go.
Well, I know David has to go, so
Yeah.
you tell me how much time you have for questions if you're...
Close to none. Need to be in Orlando in 10 minutes.
Okay, anybody
But,
any questions?
yeah.
I don't need the mic. So David, the apartments that are gonna be within the downtown area that you're talking about being in the future, what is the rent gonna be?
Rents are mostly market. Some of those projects will have a component of affordable rents, but they are mostly market rate.
And the apartments that are already existing, like on the Lakeshore Boulevard, what's the capacity there? Are they full? How are they doing? I just was curious.
I don't have the occupancy and vacancy ratios. I understand that there is vacancy, but I don't have the data.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Is
much.
there any other questions for David?
Not out here yet.
No.
Good morning, everybody. I have a question. I see all the new construction going on. Is there gonna be any new road expansions on your road still for all that traffic?
No road expansions, right? The roads are what they are.
The roads are going to be our next
Next speaker. Well, thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's good stuff.
All right, I have an announcement from Susanna's that says that the coffee is brewing, if you would like more. So there is more coffee coming. All right, now we have Mike Phillips, Senior Project Engineer with AECOM, for an update on the Connect Kissimmee project. Mr. Phillips is a multiple generation native Floridian, born and raised in Ormond Beach, Florida. He is a 1995 graduate of USF in Tampa and moved to Orlando upon graduation. He has worked in Central Florida his entire career and has a wide array of knowledge in the civil engineering field, beginning his career with CHA at Orlando International Airport as an owner authorized representative for GOAA, a brief stint in Guatemala with an engineering ministry, then settled into the design field with AECOM for the last 23 years. While at AECOM, Mr. Phillips has worked extensively with FDOT District 5, including as an in-house consultant as part of a general engineering consulting contract. Mr. Phillips serves as a deputy project manager and chief engineer within the transportation business line for the Southeast at AECOM. He has registered as a professional engineer in the states of Florida and Texas. He also assists in delivery of large complex design build projects in the Southeast and Central Gulf Coast region of AECOM. Please welcome Mike to the stage. And my running around makes it a little difficult to talk.
Thank you,
I hear
thank
you.
you.
Thank you. I'm going to hold the mic because speaking of running around, I might need to do that because I might get a little antsy. So, well, thank you so much for having me again. I was here last year, and I guess I didn't. I did a pretty good job. Y'all have me back. I appreciate that. Good morning. Buenos días. Yo hablo español un poquito. So don't say anything bad about me because I can understand. Actually, I can speak better than I can understand, which I hear is kind of backwards. But again, my name is Mike Phillips. I'm with AECOM Design Consultants, and we're currently working with the City of Kissimmee Public Works Department on the Connect Kissimmee project. And so I'm going to go ahead and walk you through the makeover that's going to be on the main artery through downtown. And let's go ahead and start. All right, Connect Kissimmee. So we're calling it Connect Kissimmee because we want to connect the outside community with downtown, make it more of a destination location. So the main project objective we have is, of course, like I said, to make it a destination location, but also to connect with the lakefront, employee centers, and neighborhoods as well. How are we going to do that, you might ask? So first, accommodating diverse modes of transportation. As you know, there's a lot of different types of transportation on the road now, whether vehicular, electric bikes, scooters, accessibility as well. For on-street parking, wayfinding signs. Sustainability, for example, we have innovative drainage design. So we have for instance, an exfiltration trench that's going to be under the sidewalk right next to the police station. I thought you'd appreciate that we didn't put a pond there, Chief. And also future-proofing, so to speak, with car charging stations, which will produce less emissions from vehicles. Also, making it pedestrian-friendly. Tabled intersections, which I'm going to get to in a little bit here, and which are ADA compliant, and RFBs, which is a fancy term for flashing yellow lights, as you see it on crossings, the crosswalks. And also, like I said before, cyclist-friendly, bike connectivity, connecting to the different areas of downtown. All right, so go ahead and take a drive through the corridor, so to speak. And you can see the project features on the left, the legend there. So as I'm talking about it, which I'm sure you probably won't follow me all the way through, which is totally understandable, you can actually see what I'm talking about with the legend and match it up to the map there. So the corridor encompasses, there's three legs, I call it, Emmett Street, Broadway, and Main Street. So the Begin project is going to be at the intersection of John Young Parkway and Emmett Street. The End project on the top right is going to be at Main Street and US 192 Vine Street. So the beginning of the project, the lower left, is going to be a gateway sign, which is matching the existing gateway sign and aesthetics features. And so that'll kind of make a bookend, if you will, of the project on each end. And I'll get into, I have graphics later on that kind of gives you a good visual of this. And then as we go up the corridor, the pink squares you see there are tabled intersections. And those are basically where you go through an intersection and it's meant to slow speeds. And it's basically like I call it a huge speed bump through the intersection, but it's real gradual. And there will be bike lane accommodations throughout the whole corridor. Right now, there's just bike lanes on Main Street. There will be on Emmett Street and through Broadway. And also, as you can see, the blue lines there that coming off of Broadway are the side street improvements. So all the side streets connected to Broadway will be improved, and the aesthetics of that will match the side streets on the other side of Broadway. We'll call it the east side of Broadway with the pavers and the hardscape features and such. And also the Church Street improvements that just happened, I think they finished that a couple of years ago, so we're intending to harmonize with that hardscape as well. Also, we're going to add a left turn lane there, and that blue arrow at that signalized intersection there of Neptune Road and Broadway. So it'll be the northbound Broadway to westbound Neptune Road. Okay, so to give a overview of the phasing, so due to budget constraints, we're having to do the project in 2 phases. So the first phase, we're going to focus on Broadway. And so that's in the blue there, phase 1, and on the right side of the screen. And that's going to go from Orlando Avenue up to Neptune Road. And I'll get to the end of phase 1 in a second, but phase 2 is going to be Emmett Street and Main Street as well. So Main Street from Neptune Road up to US 192. It's just kind of an overview of the 2 phases. Okay, so getting into the cross-section view, if you took trying to think last night how to describe it, if you had a big orange and you sliced it in half and you opened it up, that's what you're looking at there, like a cross-section view of the, we call it a typical section of Emmett Street there. So we're going to have wider bike lanes there on the outsides, and 11-foot lanes on the outside, 10-foot lanes on the inside, and the median will stay at 11 feet. So in order to widen the bike lanes, we're narrowing the travel lanes a little bit. And Broadway, typical section here, that is going to maintain the on-street parking there, and the outside lanes will be 13 feet with sharrows. We call it a shared use lane with bikes and vehicles, and then a 10-foot inside lane. And so we narrowed up the inside lane to accommodate the 13-foot shared use lanes. And this is the current design, by the way, I'll just say, and you'll know why I said that in a second. Main Street, the typical sections pretty much staying the same because we worked with the city and talked about the trees and the median, and we didn't want to widen to the inside because the trees have to be taken out, and no one wanted the big oak trees when you come in to downtown Kissimmee to be taken out. So phase 1, let me back up a second. So this is going to be, I'm kind of transitioning into the proposed 1-lane Oak Broadway. So we call it nicknamed the road diet. And the caveat here is it's not official yet. We're currently negotiating with the City Public Works for the design fee to look at this, and if it's accepted by the city, then it will go through. But I just needed to give that caveat because we're not technically working on the design right now. We're waiting on that to be accepted. But we expect to start on the design within a month. So this would be the proposed Broadway typical for the 1-lane typical section. So one of the main aspects is widening the sidewalks. So the sidewalks on the outside, the right and the left will be widened by 5 feet, so 15-foot wide sidewalks. The on-street parking will remain, and then there'll be a 7-foot bike lane on both sides, which is a 4-foot bike lane and a 3-foot buffer space, we call it, between the parking and the bike lane. So for safety, when people open and close their doors, they don't take out a bicyclist. And 11-foot inside lanes. And on Broadway, like Main, the median will remain the same width because the trees. We didn't want to disrupt that. So here's a more graphical view, if you will, of that same typical. You can see the wider sidewalks on the outsides, kind of where those umbrellas are on the left. And the on-street parking will remain again, and then proposed bike lanes with the buffer and inside lane. 1 lane, inside lane, 1 lane each direction. Okay, so the roundabout at Stewart that I touched on in the overview is seen here. We'll have landscape in the middle there. This is Ruby and Stewart and Broadway, which is a conventional intersection now, signalized, and then it will be converted to a roundabout. And so there'll be hardscape, a landscape, again, as you can see, and then there'll be the refuge areas that are for the crosswalks to cross the main line, which it would be Emmett Street from the south approach and Broadway from the north. So you'll have refuge areas in those little islands for crosswalks. So highlighting the side streets here, all this, like I said before, all the side streets will get improvements. We'll widen the sidewalk. The sidewalks will be totally reconstructed. I believe they're going to be 14 feet wide sidewalks. And you can see the tabled intersections there and that kind of the brick pattern. And those will be brick pavers as well as the side streets. And the travel lanes and the parking on the side streets will be brick pavers. So this is a snapshot of our, one of our drawings that just shows the tabled intersection. As you can see, the plan view there of the intersection, bird's eye view, you have a section going along the side street and a section to the left and right going along the main line. And the section going along the main line is in the upper left. So you can see kind of that's a profile view. So you can see how if you go left to right, you would kind of ramp up there. And then it would go through the intersection and then kind of back down, ramp down. And so what that also does is it eliminates the need for curb ramps. You know, when you go to cross the street and you go down the curb ramp and you cross the street and you go back up. So the curb ramps, so to speak, will be flush with the intersection. And I have a picture of that right here. So this is at a area in Baldwin Park, kind of near Orlando. And you can see where the stop bar is as you approach the intersection, around the curb return, we call it, to that circular area, is it's flush. See, there's no curb there. It's kind of flush with the intersection. So it's a little bit safer for the pedestrians and a kind of nice aesthetic look. And you can kind of see all the intersection kind of lifted up through there. And it's good for traffic calming as well, which is a fancy term for kind of slowing down traffic. A couple of the highlights with the roundabout, we're going to have signals, like I mentioned before, the yellow flashing beacons at the crosswalks for pedestrians. And the lighting, we are going to match the existing light poles, so you'll have that decorative feel, kind of historic feel. We're working with Kissimmee Utility Authority on that. And again, that's just kind of a technical view of the landscaping and hardscape in the middle of the roundabout and on the outside in the medians. We're also going to incorporate wayfinding signs. So, we want to make this downtown destination location. So you want to make it easy for pedestrians to find their way around. So there'll be some upgrade on the wayfinding signs as well. And there's a concept of the gateway sign at the beginning of the project, which is Emmett Street and John Young Parkway. Creates a sense of arrival, offers visitors a first impression, and it's kind of a nice bookend, so to speak, with the other end of the project. Like I mentioned before, there's plans to install electrical vehicle charging stations. The plan is for phase one to install a vehicle charging station and then the infrastructure for one in the near future. And that's the same for both phases. And that's going to be at the phase one, the charging station will be at Church Street and Monument Avenue. And the phase two, I think it's going to be to the north of that. I think it's Sproul and Church. So proposed project schedule here. It's a little conservative, but we're saying begin construction for phase one, and it's end of 26 early 27. Phase two, begin construction end of 28, early 29, just to give you a rough idea of the time frame. And that's it for now.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for Monique?
I don't have a question, but I have a concern about the roadway being narrowed to a one-way, like 2 lanes to 1 lane. And there's already currently like traffic and holdups there, people trying to parallel park.
Sorry, my question
I heard,
is,
yeah.
one, have these plans been approved by the city already to go down to 1 lane?
No,
So I guess I'm
no.
just concerned more than I have a question whether or not that's, you know, a wise plan, just because there's already traffic in that area, there's a lot of through traffic in that area.
Right. Can you hear me with this mic or? I got you. That's all right. You can delete that out. Yes, that's a good question. So, as part of the first step, we're going to do a traffic analysis for the road diet. First off, and then it has to be approved from there. So, again, it's really in the vein of slowing traffic down. You see they've slowed it to, they recently installed 25-mile-an-hour signs through the whole corridor now, not just Broadway. So that's the idea, kind of slow traffic, make it more destination oriented. So it's, yeah, I mean, it's a different concept, but that's kind of part of it, is just slowing the traffic down and there will be the parking, the on-street parking will remain, of course, like I said. And I know the parking garages can be considered in the future as well to increase parking, but the on-street parking will remain. But like I said, it's in the study now. So, and it was something that had been gaining steam from what I gather. Apparently it wasn't really wanted in the past, but we've heard a lot more about it recently, and so that's why we were asked to look at it. So,
where did the recommendations for these types of changes, like going from wider roads to a singular road, one in each direction, come from usually? Is that where are you getting that recommendation to start studies with, I guess is what I'm saying?
I think it's really just kind of a combination, business owners, and we were directed by Public Works to look at it, and so but who they had talked to exactly, I don't know, but I know it's usually business owners, people in the community that want to. You just kind of hear more and more preference for it, and it gains steam, and so it sounds like it's something they wanted to look at.
Somebody can answer that.
Oh, okay.
We want to bring that.
Yeah.
Good morning, Samaya Singleton, Area Manager for the City of Kissimmee. So several years ago, the city did do a corridor study for Broadway, Main, and Emmett that presented 4 recommended options for a streetscape improvement project. And one of the top recommendations was a lane reduction. That was our top recommendation at the time. However, our commission at the time did not prefer that design, and it chose to keep the road as it is with the 2 lanes each direction. However, over the past couple of years, as I mentioned, we've received requests from property owners, businesses, and safety experts to choose another option, such as the lane reduction. So, as I mentioned, it's meant to make downtown a more destination-oriented place, also provide traffic calming, make it more walkable, and most of the traffic we get is through traffic. They're not stopping downtown, using it as a cut-through, so our goal is to make downtown a destination and have that traffic that's passing through find another way to go around. So, thank you.
Well,
Thank you, Samaya. All right.
thanks, Emma.
I don't see any other hands. So thank you very much, Mike.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks, Candice.
All right. So our next and final presenter is David Shimp, Chief Executive Officer for HCA Florida Osceola Hospital. David Shimp has been serving as the Chief Executive Officer of HCA Florida Osceola Hospital in Kissimmee, Florida since December 13, 2021. David is a native of Houston, Texas, and is in his 20th year with HCA Healthcare. Before moving to Central Florida, he was the CEO of Del Sol Medical Center, a 315-bed level 2 trauma full-service acute care hospital in El Paso, Texas. Under his leadership, Del Sol rose to a Leapfrog A-rated facility, achieved national top quartile performance in patient experience, and saw growth in both clinical programs and facilities. During his tenure at Del Sol, Health Grades recognized the hospital with awards of excellence in obstetrics and gynecology, labor and delivery, and bariatric spine and orthopedic surgery. He successfully established an 82-resident graduate medical education program, opened a freestanding emergency department, and led the acquisition of a freestanding rehabilitation hospital. Additionally, he successfully navigated Del Sol through their 18 times increased surge of COVID-19 inpatients during the pandemic, as well as August 3rd, 2019 El Paso shooting, where Del Sol treated 11 of the 23 victims. Prior to his tenure at Del Sol Medical Center, David was the Chief Operating Officer of St. David's Medical Center in Austin, Texas. At St. David's, he played a key role in numerous strategic, clinical, and operational initiatives, including more than $100 million in capital projects that contributed to the hospital's overall growth. Preceding his time with St. David's Medical Center, David held various roles at OU Medical Center in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, ultimately serving as the Chief Operating Officer. In this role, he was responsible for leading a variety of programs and service lines at the 798-bed acute care academic medical center, including the solid organ transplant program, cardiovascular and oncology service lines, the sleep disorder center, respiratory therapy, and rehabilitation. David earned his Bachelor of Arts in Leadership Studies and Biology from the University of Richmond in Richmond, Virginia, and his Master in Healthcare Administration from the Medical College of Virginia, also in Richmond. Let's make David feel welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll hold it. I'll hold it. A couple things that I've clearly already learned. One, I need to get a new tie. As I think both Mike and I clearly have our favorite ties, right? Or we just took the pictures this morning, and that's what I'm going to go with. And secondly, I need to shorten my bio. There's a lot of excessive stuff in there, but it is again. Good morning. My name is David Shimp, and I have the privilege of serving as the CEO at HCA Florida Osceola Hospital. And it's a privilege to be able to be here this morning and share a little bit more about as kind of seeing themes through the course of this presentation. Some key themes that I'm excited to be able to be a part of. So just kind of a quick agenda, going to talk about HCA Florida Healthcare in the Orlando market. It was only just 2.5 years ago that we ended up branding under the HCA moniker and really representing the state's largest healthcare system here in the Orlando market. Looking specifically about the HCA Florida Osceola Hospital model, talking about our people and culture, quality of service, and then talking about our service lines. So a little bit about HCA here in Central Florida and HCA across the nation. HCA Healthcare is actually the largest healthcare company in all of the United States, 190 hospitals, in 17 different states. Here within the state of Florida, it's actually our second largest, highest volume state. Texas, number one, we have about 54 hospitals there, 51 hospitals here in the state of Florida, from Pensacola all the way south to Miami. As we look at the growth of Orlando, and you all are quite familiar with this, the growth of Orlando market and then Osceola County specifically, 6.2% growth in Orlando, 12% growth here in Osceola County. I want to share a little bit about the economic impact the HCA Osceola Hospital ends up having on across the Orlando market. And these are the 5 different hospitals, 5 different acute care hospitals that we have. $830 million annual impact. Our SWB, salary, wages, and benefits, end up being about $350 million a year. The charity and uncompensated care is $75 million, just over $75 million of charity and uncompensated care. There's some misnomers that I'd be remiss if I didn't take a little bit of an opportunity to be able to address, and that's the concept of for-profit healthcare versus not-for-profit healthcare. We have some incredible systems, all providing great care. I think that the concept of for-profit healthcare was really something that predates 1986. 1986, there was a law passed called the Emergency Medical Treatment and Active Labor Act, EMTALA, and what that law did was level the playing field and kept hospitals from being able to do what's called a wallet biopsy. Oh, you don't have insurance? Well, you need to go down the street instead. And so really at this point, whether it's for-profit healthcare, not-for-profit healthcare, that's more of a function of tax status. And so I say that to be able to say that the taxes pay, part of the community benefit that HCA ends up providing is through our as a tax-paying company, almost $55 million in taxes that we end up paying. Continue to reinvest over the past 5 years, and we're only going to continue to accelerate that in the Orlando market to the tune of $500 million, and try to be able to keep as much as we can supporting local, with almost $55 million in local vendor support. The map is showing kind of the evolution of HCA in the Orlando market in just a period of 10, 12 years, from where we had 2 acute care hospitals on the far north side in Sanford. That was our, used to be Central Florida Regional and Osceola Regional. Again, we've branded now under the HCA Florida moniker, so that's our Lake Monroe campus. And as you work down the 417 corridor, we have our Oviedo Medical Center campus, our UCF Lake Nona campus, HCA Florida Osceola Hospital, and Point Siena. And so have grown over a significant amount of time. Moving to talk specifically about Osceola, we are the largest, most complex provider of healthcare in Osceola County. 401 beds, ER services, ICU, operating rooms, try to make sure that we're including the latest technology that we can in our various systems. And so we have 4 different robotic surgical systems, 3 Da Vinci robots, 1 Mazor for spine robotics. Behavioral health is a key component of what we end up doing within the community, and have worked collaboratively with Park Place on how we make sure that we're supporting behavioral health needs of the community. Inpatient rehab as post-acute care continues to be an important investment that we all end up making. And the highest level of neonatal services really within the community, within Osceola County. We have a level 3 NICU, which means we do everything for babies 22 weeks and later. And I'm going to go into that a little bit more. We do really everything other than complex pediatric surgery, which we partner with Nemours over in the Medical City area of Lake Nona. One of the key things as we talk about traffic that we end up doing is making sure that we're bringing emergency services, that really 75% of all hospital admissions across all of Orlando originate in the emergency department. That's not just HCA, that's all of the systems. And so the closer we can bring emergency services to population densities that are away from a hospital is really a key community need. So you have seen this growth of freestanding emergency departments. We actually have 4 currently. We're getting ready to open 1 in West Orange, and then another one in downtown Orlando. Additionally, as several different things from the economic impact with regards to our employees. We have almost 2,000 employees at Osceola, an average hourly rate of almost $44 an hour, and so high-paying jobs with people living around here. We mentioned the Beaumont apartment complex. My ER director lives there. One of our cardiology fellows, I'm going to talk a little bit about our graduate medical education program that we partner with UCF on. But we have several folks who are living there, and so the addition of those housing developments has been a great thing to continue to be able to support a highly paid average hourly rate employee base. Medical staff, almost 720 medical staff, and then 206 residents and fellows in 18 different graduate medical education programs. A little bit about our people. I'm really proud of the culture that we've been able to create, and I hope, just a show of hands, how many of you, heaven forbid, have had to receive care or know a loved one that's received care at Osceola? Okay, a decent number of you. I'm incredibly proud of the culture that we've been able to create of caregivers who are caring for their community members. And so this, one of the ways that we measure that is by, is through what we do a twice annual employee engagement survey, which is really the most objective measure of our culture. And going from, we kind of base it out of nurses and then all skill mix. For our nursing engagement to go from 66% to 81% has been an amazing thing, and really excited about the culture that we've ended up driving and how that then translates to making sure that we're keeping those people. When I first started in December of 21, we had almost a 70% turnover rate for those people that were first coming on as first year turnover, 35% turnover rate. So we were losing 1 out of every 3 people. We're now less than 15%. And so really keeping those exceptional nurses, exceptional techs here within the community. I'm proud of the way we've been able to drive that. Now, secondarily, if we talk about what healthcare's ultimate product ends up being, is the highest possible quality of care that we can provide. And so as part of HCA with 190 hospitals across the country, we measure everything. And so there are so many different ways that we are measuring, making sure, one, patients aren't getting sicker when they come to the hospital. There was an Institute of Medicine report in the 90s that was called To Err is Human, and it talked about 100,000 lives that were lost because of healthcare errors and patients getting sicker in the hospital than what they came to us for. And really, really proud of how we've been able to change that. Even from January of last year to January of this year, like I'm sure many of you in your respective businesses have dashboards, and red is bad, green is good. And so the significant shift of quality of care, whether it's in cardiovascular services and how we're treating heart attacks, how we're treating the coronary artery bypass, heart surgery, and taking significantly better care of our patients that are entrusting us with that. Whether it's looking at emergency services and how quickly we're able to administer clot-busting drugs to be able to help make sure that we're treating strokes, or patients that come in with raging infections called sepsis, and which is the #1 thing people die of in the hospital, how we're making sure we're taking better care of sepsis patients. Whether it's OB/GYN, our trauma programs, incredibly proud of the quality of care that we are providing and how that's translating to how our patients are experiencing our care. Almost 87% of our patients have a favorability rank of saying that they would absolutely come back to us, and it's a place that they trust for us making sure. As we get granular into some of those things that end up making a difference is how well the staff work together to care for you and how well nurses actually paid attention and listened to what the issues are. And so proud with the progress that we've made in all of those areas. As we now talk about service lines, again, 75% of across the community of patients that end up in the hospital originate through the emergency department. At Osceola, because we are more of an ER-driven hospital than elective knee surgery type stuff, that number actually climbs to 80%. And so it's really important that we make sure we're providing fantastic emergency services. And so this is just another dashboard, green is good, red is bad, of the ways that we make sure that we're taking better care of our patients. And so the bottom box is a metric that we track called arrival to greet. And that is from the time you walk into the emergency department until you are greeted by a provider. By a physician, not just a nurse, but by a physician, is 7.5 minutes. So the days of waiting in the emergency department, at least at HCA, the days of waiting for hours on end in a waiting room are a thing of the past. The total length of stay for lower acuity, I have an earache, I need to get stitches, have sore throat that ends up being strep. Those lower acuity ER visits, you're in and out in 65 minutes. This is just kind of those boxes that I have somewhere between 65 to 75 minutes as to how quickly we are able to be getting a patient effectively treated and back out. Those more complex things that they end up getting discharged just over 2 hours. And so the days of continuing to wait in an ER are a thing of the past. And I wanted to be able to dispel some of that. As we talked about additional service lines, we are an academic medical center, and I'm incredibly proud to be able to partner with the University of Central Florida as and UCF Health as the employers and where our residents end up originating from. They actually are our resident partners, but they are working at Osceola. We have 18 different programs with 206 residents this year. We just recently started a cardiology fellowship, whether that's internal medicine, rheumatology, endocrinology, emergency medicine, vascular surgery, hospice and palliative care, OBGYN, reproductive endocrinology and infertility. It is an incredibly great thing to be able to have residents and fellows working in a hospital. It raises the level of all boats. It is yet another set of eyes that are highly trained and taking care of patients. And so we are proud to be an academic medical center. One of the other service lines that we end up providing is women's services. And again, you heard me mention the neonatal intensive care unit, our NICU, which is the highest level NICU here in town. What's the happiest thing people come to a hospital for? It's not an accident, it's having a baby, right? And so when I first got there, our women's patient experience was not as strong as it needed to be. It was in 3rd percentile, 13th percentile, 5th percentile. Very, very proud that we've been in the top quartile, if not the top decile, for how patients are experiencing their care across the entire nation, specifically within our women's services. Another key community benefit of what our ER is able to provide is our comprehensive stroke program and our neurosciences. This is what's called a large vessel occlusion, and I'm not a radiologist, but I do work in healthcare, so I'm going to try to explain what this is. Those red circles is a patient that is having a stroke before we end up treating and going in and actually removing the stroke, and then after. The brain ends up being perfused with blood, obviously. For every minute that a stroke is happening, you're losing 2 to 3 million brain cells. And so minutes absolutely matter. If you've heard the acronym FAST of faced, arms, and making sure that you can get a patient to the hospital as fast as you possibly can, that's an acronym for how we need to be taking better care of strokes. Now, we have docs who actually go into the vessels of the brain and remove the clot, and that's what happened here in what's called a large vessel occlusion. And you can see the blood flow, the additional lines on the left-hand side of this is where blood is getting back to the brain. And so our stroke outcomes are some of the best in the entire nation, and incredibly proud of the lives that we've been able to change with regards to our comprehensive stroke program. Cardiovascular services is another key component of what we end up providing here within the community. And really this is, I'm incredibly excited about things that we've done that extend beyond just taking care of heart patients, but really first in state, first in region type care. So this is Dr. Steve Hoff. We had him with Marty Salt on ABC, talking about some of the innovative cardiac techniques that he ends up doing. One of the things that he does, as compared to a lot of other heart surgeons, is that he will actually do open heart surgery on a beating heart. Most CV surgeons, you actually have to do what's called heart-lung bypass, and you stop the heart and then end up sewing. He actually has been part of a team that has invented a retractor that I'm going to go. Anybody know sewing machines? Right? Okay, this is going to sound really weird, right? But you know the like fork thing that helps hold down fabric on sewing machines? He has helped create a retractor and work with industry to be able to build this retractor that they essentially put that on a beating heart that holds that spot in place, and he's sewing into a beating heart. So we no longer have to go on heart-lung bypass, which means the outcomes and recovery are significantly better. This is not a HIPAA violation because he tells me that I can share this, but how many people know Atlee Mercer? Number of folks, right? Okay, so Atlee actually just had heart surgery with Dr. Hoff. I texted him on his birthday, and we were able to arrange it because it was right when Dr. Hoff was starting. Texted him on his birthday, and I said, Atlee, just want to wish you a happy birthday. He writes back, thanks, I'm here because of you. And it was kind of a special moment for us. I want to be able to, I hope that this works. I want to be able to end with not my words, but the words of our patients, because I think one of the marquee programs that we have at HCA Florida Osceola Hospital is our Level 2 trauma program. Now, in any other state, we would be a Level 1 program. The Level 2 programs within the state of Florida, you have to be able to do pediatrics. And so there's only one Level 1 trauma program in the greater Central Florida area, and that's Orlando Regional Medical Center, because they have Arnold Palmer Hospital for Children. And so just kind of qualifying, is a Level 1 better than a Level 2? No, not really. I mean, from an adult care perspective, we're capable of doing everything that ORMC is able to do. And so just from a understanding of where the trauma services are. And so I hope that this works. We're going to... Yeah, I'm going to potentially hold the mic up to this. But this was a video that we shot on our Trauma Survivors Day, and it's a very special, very powerful thing where we reunite patients, trauma victims, with the caregivers that ended up taking care of them, as well as the EMS teams that first saw them.
Taken to surgery. It was an eye contact with the nurse. I don't know their names. She said, "You're gonna be fine."
They work and they work and they work and they work until they get the job done, until they save that life.
At the moment, all of you spent others, and I will never forget it.
Oh my gosh, you guys are wonderful.
I'm 48 today. Today I turned 48 because of the miracle that happened at HCA.
This hospital has been a gift to the community, to the parents, to the family. There's hope, there's a chance.
HCA Florida Osceola Hospital ready for service community. We are equipped with the best of the best. Our survival rate is 99%. For any situations and all situations, we're ready.
To me, every single person that works in that building is an angel from God.
Oh, crap. Saw enough people crying the first time. We don't need to play it again. Okay. Well, there we go. Okay, good. I couldn't say it any better. This hospital is a gift to the community, and that was a mom from one of our trauma victims. Our mission is that above all else, we're committed to the care and improvement of human life, and it is an honor and a privilege to be able to bring that to Kissimmee and to all of Osceola County. Guys, thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you for the wonderful presentation. I love that you're committed to working with local businesses, and I would like to know for businesses that want to do business with HCA, what would be the process?
We can certainly talk after this. We do have a kind of a centralized supply chain, as well as it kind of depends on the businesses. So from medical equipment, we have a what's called a group purchasing organization that we can absolutely get businesses tied to. But then other things like we just recently, I say recently, within the past 2 years, opened our new lobby. That had space for a coffee shop, and so rather than us running it, I actually reached out to Foxtail Coffee and got to know Alex Checkman, who's the CEO of that company, and he ended up putting in a Foxtail. We are not using that as a cost center. In fact, the rent on that is just 10% of sales. For whatever they end up doing. So it's a benefit to our patients, benefit to our community, but find fun ways of being able to work with community organizations around that. So happy to be able to talk a little bit more afterward then.
Hi there, as you know, healthcare and technology intersect all the time. What type of roles are very high in demand as far as within your organization?
So certainly workforce, can you all hear me okay? All right, certainly workforce development is a key component of what we end up doing. I think one of the challenges with healthcare is that so much of this is competency-based and credential-based. And so whether it's you have to have a nursing license, you have to have a radiology technician license to be able to do that. So there's some elements that that do end up being, very much end up being the case. Obviously, 50% of our, obviously nursing is a key component. About 50% of our workforce ends up being nurses. But there's so many other technical components of things, whether it's radiology techs, phlebotomists, lab technicians, surgical technologists. There's a number of other key specialization that we have to be able to make the hospital work. Additionally, from a technology perspective, we have a large, robust IT team. And in fact, our UCF Lake Nona campus is one of 2 hubs across the 190 hospitals within HCA that is a technology hub, and looking at how are we driving innovation through technology. So there's ways not just here at Osceola, but across HCA and the Orlando Metro that we can continue to advance, whether it's AI learning for being able to identify small changes in a patient's vital signs that might end up indicating sepsis or might indicating other higher order issues than what they're having. To better care for patients, to how we're making sure that we're managing our workforce more efficiently with scheduling and otherwise. So there's a lot of different opportunities, and again, happy to speak after around that. Anything else? All right. Again, thank you all so very much. It was a privilege.
All right, well, that concludes our presentation for today. We would like to thank you all again for coming to the 2025 Downtown Kissimmee Council's Downtown Update. We are excited for all the awesome things coming to Downtown Kissimmee, and thank you again to our speakers for presenting today. Let's give them a round of applause. I'd also like to ask the Downtown Kissimmee Council board members to stand for a second. I know we have our table over here. We've got some more throughout the room. This is our Downtown Kissimmee Council board. Thank you all for the hard work that you all do and for your help making this